Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our in our series of weight loss to healthy eating to lose those COVID-10 pounds. If you have any questions, you can feel free to text Dr. Justine at 647-987-9355. I'd like to welcome our two guest speakers, Dr. Justine and Dr. Udani, who are going to be presenting for us today.
We have lots of amazing upcoming webinars, and we would love to include you on gut health and on strengthening your lower body, on heart health. So stay tuned and share these with friends. We have a challenge happening in our society where we are getting more sedentary, from being the kind of cavemen that went for our food, hiked, went out all the time, to now we can get a pop that's bigger than our head. We can constantly want to snack and sit in front of the TV and get bombarded with negative information, where we lose our overall strength, health, and energy. So we want to change that and look towards a wellness triad of looking towards being healthy physically, nutritionally, emotionally, and mentally, in order to be our best version of ourselves, the best you. So as we look at this, we look at these current obesity statistics, it's challenging. You look over the years, we're getting bigger. We're getting more challenged. And then this year, especially because we're becoming more sedentary, more locked inside, it's more difficult to get motivated to move when we're designed to move. So unfortunately, our obesity statistics are going up. And now's the time to talk about weight loss and ways to do it. So we were going to talk about 7 ways to manage weight loss freedom. So that comes from this book here. You will see here from Dr. Phil. I don't know how many of you have watched him on TV. We're going to talk about those 7 steps. And if you need more support, I've written my book about the Unleash the Inner Healer, which you can get at the office, has more information about nutrition and healing. So we're going to talk about the right thinking, getting rid of the stinking thinking, having healthy feelings and a healthy environment, mastering that impulse eating, getting our bodies moving, and of course, having that circle of support. Making a decision. Are you ready? Are you ready to eat differently? Are you ready to give up certain friends that are not on the same path as you, that create that negative environment? Are you ready to confront yourself with the truth if you need the help, and to be open to needing the help and having a team around you to support you and help you? Or are we allowing ourselves to sabotage ourselves or be around saboteurs? Are we willing to throw away that junk food that we don't need? The things that take us off our path? Are you ready to increase your exercise, increase your movement, making your health a priority and doing our affirmations? Because ultimately, we are responsible for ourselves. When we look at it, in the first one, we have to have the right thinking. How do you talk to yourself? What are your positive affirmations? I put them up by where I brush my teeth every day. I'm ready to give, I'm ready to love, I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to give, I'm ready to love, I'm ready to serve. I want to talk to, when I eat different foods, is this serving my goal? Is this serving me to be the best mom, the best sister, the best doctor, the best friend? How do I label myself? Do I think of myself as chubby? Do I think of myself as fat? Do I go into the poor me thinking, well, my parents are big, so I'll always be big, or I'm big boned, so why try? Or we're locked down, so it's not worth it, it's too hard. Do we make those excuses? Or do we aim for this pipe dream that I'm going to be a size 2, I'm going to be perfect, I'm going to be like that magazine model? We need to make sure that we don't have these self-defeating messages, this negative, stinking thinking that's going to put us in the right frame. We want to have our goal setting in a manageable sense, to be a size that's reasonable for your body height. And that's why you want to have reasonable goals and support yourself with the coaches around you. So if you see this next picture, don't laugh. I used to be quite big, 235 pounds there, opening some of the presents just after my son was born. And then this picture, of course, is in the dark because I'm not so comfortable in a bikini, but after losing the weight, right? And trying to learn to feel good about yourself. No, I'm not going to be a size 2 or 4, but I'm going to try and find a way to feel happy with my strong legs, and my hockey butt. So finding a way to be thankful for your new health, and then, of course, maintaining it. As we go into these healing feelings, we don't want to look for food for our answers when we're stressed. And I know I'm guilty of this. I want those comfort foods. When I was younger, it was macaroni and cheese. Today is probably cheese. So finding ways to look at stress in a different way. That's why we have numerous talks on stress. And that's why we have talks on anxiety. And I encourage you to look at those. So with Dr. Phil, we have what's called an emotional audit. Do you eat when you're bored, when you're depressed, when you're anxious? One of my guilty ones when we did have company was I'd eat to be polite. I'd finish the plate. My grandfather, born up in the war, was finish your plate. I'd look to food as a way to relax, to have stress, or food to socialize instead of going for a walk or a hike. And it doesn't have to have any food involved at all. Now, we can't go to restaurants, we can't have friends over, but we can find ways to socialize on Zoom, on different ways, social media, or out for a walk and getting our bodies moving. So looking different ways of why you are eating. Looking towards having that no-fail environment. Where do you put your treats? Do you have a treat cupboard, a treat drawer, treats in your purse, treats in your car? Are you the kind of person that orders Uber Eats? Are you the person that stops at fast food? Maybe the biggest step is saying, this month I will not do fast food. I will not go to one single fast food place. Do you go shopping with a shopping list? I'm guilty of this. If I'm hungry, I end up buying way too much. So looking at where your weaknesses are, right now, I don't do the food shopping because my husband knows I'll buy too much. So maybe that's a job that needs to be swapped. And the next thing is doing a closet cleanup. If you have what I used to call fat clothes, my fat day clothes, when I felt bloated, or at the end of the month, or just when I know I've overdone it after Christmas, sometimes just getting those clothes out of the house is super important. I know today you can't get them and give them to to Goodwill or to one, even the Journey. You can't give it away as easily, but you can bag it up, put it away so it's out of your access. Looking at your environment, where is the junk food? Where are you hiding it? And do you try to serve on large platters? So in our household, I put the large platters sort of out of reach for me, and try to use salad plates, smaller spoons to make it easier. Being cautious that we're not eating by the clock, we're eating when we are hungry, creating a plan for our meals on Sundays for the week, and trying to make sure that we are eating until we're 80% full, not till you feel like stuffed, but when you're 80% full. So when we go into number 4, we're looking at mastering that impulse eating. So replacing some of those bad habits. So maybe one of the rules is no food in front of the TV, no food while I'm working, so that while I'm TV or working, it's liquids only. Maybe the impulses are ordering food in. So you just say, that's the one thing I can't do. I have to have bought it in advance with a shopping list. Looking at our eating style, making sure we're eating sitting down. I'm probably guilty of this. So looking at if you can't be with a loved one, eating with Zoom with somebody else where they can see your meal, so that you're comparing recipes or comparing how healthy your meals are. So changing our habits, writing down our new habits, and then being accountable with them with a coach like Dr. Udani or a family member. So looking at this behavior audit is like, are you sneaking food? Are you able to leave food on your plate? That's certainly something I grew up was a no-no because of the war and people were starving. So starting with less on your plate, so you have to go back. Looking at making sure you eat it at the kitchen, but not in variety of rooms in your house, adding more spices and different spices to change the taste, and adding more colors on your plate. Some of the do's and don'ts, looking towards adding more vitamin C rich foods, eating more healthy fats, fish, adding more water into your diet, and looking towards not eating after dinner, right? None of the late night snacking of that unhealthy foods. So the ideal pyramid, this comes from Tony Robbins, looking at the bottom of lots and lots of water, focusing on your deep breathing or meditation, lots and lots of greens and healthy food. So when you're looking at your plate, half your plate or more is the greens and the healthy fats. Then you look towards vegetables and proteins, and grains are the smaller amount. So we're trying to get rid of the chemicals, um, and lowering our grain amount and increasing our greens on our plate. So when you're looking at your plate, aim for the greens being the size of your fist, the proteins the size of your palm, cheese the size of your thumb, and adding those healthy, good fat seeds or um, uh, chia seeds or hemp seeds into your meals. When we look at food combining, this is not discussed often, but this to help increase digestion. And it goes a lot with the paleo diet. This comes from Tony Robbins. Mixing your vegetables and your proteins and your vegetable and your starch, but not mixing your fruit. So try and eat your fruit alone so that you have a better way of digesting it. Looking towards increasing your exercise. And we have numerous talks about this, but write a plan. When are you exercising? Is it at lunchtime since you're at home every single day? Because that's when you would have gone for a walk. What is the plan? If you take Sunday, just as you plan your meals, plan your exercise routine. Mondays, arms, Wednesdays, chest and back, Thursdays, legs, Tuesdays, cardio, and Fridays, cardio. Whatever your plan is, have it written out so it's something that you can follow. Make it something that's scheduled and that you can monitor your results, that you can give yourself a check, good job, and you check in with somebody else. Create that circle of support and know your saboteurs. So I know my family just loves to bake, especially Blake's family. They are such amazing bakers with cookies and desserts and pies. So I need to make sure that's out of sight. I need to have I follow more of a keto diet, so I have to make sure those keto, if I need a treat, they are there. So I'm going to pick the healthier option. So knowing who you need to be around, and who you need to talk to as far as your nutrition and your weight loss, but also as far as your mindset. If there are things that are negative, whether it's the negative news on TV or it's the negative people in your life, turn it off or limit it to a specific hours. Creating your support team, you want that coach. Dr. Udani can help you with supporting these weight loss goals. Having your cheerleaders, that's usually your family or your spouse. And then a friend or a coach to be external accountability. Somebody to say, well, how are you doing? On track. Somebody to have a food journal with to share what you ate. That can now be on by phone. It can be electronic. You can take pictures. You can enter it on even a Fitbit. You can now monitor so much more easily to share that information to make sure you stay accountable to your goals.
Amazing, Dr. Justine. So yes, there's a big myth that's saying fat makes you fat, but that's not actually correct. So let's go a little bit deeper into what that really means. So there's good fats and bad fats. So the bad fats are things that are man-made. They're synthetic. So if you ever see hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils on the label, you know that's bad fats. Okay, so even corn oil, canola oil, these are found in a lot of breads, crackers, and cookies. So making sure you read that label to see where it lies and what kind of fats they have. And of course, good fats, they're not altered by man. These are all natural. So things we get from our vegetables like extra virgin olive oil, avocados, coconut oil, raw nuts and seeds like Dr. Justine mentioned. And of course, grass-fed meats can be a great source of good anti-inflammatory fats. And, we need fat. Fat gets this bad rep that we can't have fat when you're trying to lose weight. That is not true. Our bodies, when we don't take enough fat, we can actually hold on to more weight because it thinks we're in the starvation mode, because fat is needed for energy. It's a slower burning fuel, so it makes you feel fuller. And we need it for so many parts in our body. For our brain, think about our brain. It's 60% made out of fat. So for proper function, for proper memory, fat is really important. And there are different kinds of fats that could be unhealthy. So there's saturated fats. These tend to stay more solid in room temperature. So they can be found in meats, dairy, lard, it's solid in room temperature. So it's full of saturated fats. Eggs can be a source of that as well. And there's trans fats, which are more synthetic. They're the worst fats for heart health. You don't want a lot of trans fats in your diet. So these are found in margarine, a lot of deep fried products, a lot of baked goods can have trans fats, and they can have a really high risk of causing heart disease when you take more trans fats. And this is one of my favorite things, avocado. I usually have it, at least once a day. It really helps me with my appetite. It makes me, feel fuller. You can add it to salads. You can make desserts with it. It's full of all these amazing nutrients, a lot of great anti-inflammatory fats. So, and it can also be helpful for destroying cancer cells too. It's a great thing to have, a great fruit to have for your diet. And, we need fats, the power of essential fatty acids. So these are the fatty acids that make up so many parts in our body. It's so important for the proper function of our cells. It's important for skincare, for, if you have eczema or psoriasis, that means you're low in some of these fats. Digestion is important with essential fatty acids. It helps us be more regular. It keeps our pipes cleaner. It's anti-inflammatory. It's amazing for heart as well. The good cholesterol helps prevent heart disease and prevent heart attacks. And it can, of course, help us elevate mood because, cholesterol, it makes up a lot of our hormones. So to be happy, to have that energy, we need all these good hormones, working well in our body. And this is amazing for some of our other immune system, for our systems like immune system, for kidneys. A lot of people with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, they tend to be more inflammatory. So having more of those anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats can really help with reducing the pain. And of course, the brain, for nerves, for nervous system function, we need those essential fatty acids to work well. So changing your animal products is so important when you're thinking about changing the kind of fats you're getting. So the more grass-fed, having grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, wild-caught fatty fish, especially from the Pacific, natural sources of dairy, these contain more of those healthier anti-inflammatory fats. And this is something that Dr. Justine follows. It's a great ketogenic diet. If you know what that is when you have a lot of your calories coming from fat, because fat, when it's a healthy version, can be really good and a really great source of energy. So the Keto Advanced Healing Plan is basically, when you go on it, it helps to eliminate a lot of that inflammation that your body might be having. So it's really, you're cutting down those carbohydrates. So how do you enter a nutritional ketosis? So this is what usually when you're in that ketogenic diet for some time, you enter this state called ketosis. And one of the most efficient ways to train your body to switch from using carbohydrates to fat is to cut down a lot of your grains and increase your fat intake, and make sure this is the healthy kind of fats, the grass-fed butter. You can have that nutritional coffee, bullet coffee. And you're trying to make it so that your carb target is low as possible. And then you can buy something called ketone strips to measure to see where you are and if you've entered ketosis. So these are urine strips. So you urinate on it and it tells you just where your ketones are. So nutritional ketones is when your ketone range is from 0.5 to 3 millimoles. So that's when you know, all right, I'm mostly burning my fat and I'm in this fat burning zone. So indications you need this plan is, let's say you have those bad fats in your blood work. So if you come to me and I see a lot of high triglycerides, you're getting high cholesterol, you're close to having diabetes, you have high blood pressure, you're overweight, digestive issues, heart disease, that's a sign to me that this is something you need. Your body's inflamed. And I'm sure Dr. Justine knows as well, when a patient comes in with pain, arthritis, a prolonged inflammation, these are signs you need to change your diet to have more of anti-inflammatory fats in you. So the purpose of this keto plan is, number one, when we switch to burning fat, you're just going to burn it more efficiently. And then number two is detoxifying. So reducing that inflammation, making sure your organs are working better, and then reducing the inflammation and risk of heart disease and diabetes. And of course, balancing hormones, because we need those cholesterol to make the hormones properly and, so they're functioning, they're working for us instead of against us. So the core plan consists of three main changes. So first one is you got to add the good fats and replacing the bad fats. So no, don't go for those burgers and the French fries. That's not good fat. You need to go for the nuts, the seeds, the grass-fed beef, the grain, grass-fed butter, wild-caught fish. So making sure that's the number one, switching and adding those good fats. Then changing the meats you're eating. So making sure it's not the grain-fed. Go for the grass-fed instead. And removing or reducing sugar from your diet, making sure cutting as much as you can. And of course, we have intermittent fasting methods, so we got when you eat within the 8 to 10 window. So if you're starting off, that might be the easiest. Then you can go for more of the increase in the fasting period so that you only eat in the window of 6 to 8. There's a harder one where if you want to, after a while, you want to challenge your body even more, you can do a full 24-hour fast, only 1 to 2 days per week. This can be great for losing weight as well. So whenever somebody's trying to do a weight loss or a diet, I always recommend come talk to a coach to see if this is working for you. We might have to do some baseline to see, all right, are you going to be super stressed with this, or can your body really handle this? So when you are intermittent fasting, make sure you don't go for the crazy junk food. You still want to stick to the healthy food in that fasting window, making sure it's full of protein to get that steady, sustained energy. And, fasting means zero. So when you're fasting, that does not mean you can have any sugar or any carb or anything like that. So really, even having a handful of almonds, that means you're breaking your fast. Whenever I'm doing my fast, I tend to just have some coffee. So decaf coffee with some water is what I'm getting. And always remind yourself that the hunger is going to pass. So focusing on things that get your mind away from being that hunger feeling can be great when you're starting off intermittent fasting. And it's so important to keep consistent, okay? Stay consistent, find that motivation, find that support group for you, that coach that can keep you accountable, and so that you can stay consistent. And of course, drink up, make sure you get that hydration. When you're drinking more, your stomach gets fuller and you feel full, right? So things like teas and coffees are allowed when you're doing intermittent fasting. And of course, distract yourself. That could be the last resort, don't have any of those foods near you. If you need to go for a walk, do that. Find something so that your brain doesn't only focus on food. Yes, and of course, one of the other things is getting that great sleep. So even a single night of bad sleep, you're going to be hungry when you wake up. You don't get that, you don't feel refreshed, so you go for the chips or whatever that's right there that's going to, break your fast, and you go back to, that feeling of like, oh, I just failed, I didn't do this properly. So get that great sleep. And then control your stresses, right? When we're stressed, we all know we go for those cravings, we go for that sweet foods. So making sure your stress is under control. And we have so many talks on some of the easy, simple ways to do that. And making sure you eat enough in that period so that you don't feel this crazy hunger when you wake up. And really the important thing is taking good care of your body, because it's the only place you have to live. So I always say, think of your body as the temple that holds your soul and your spirit. And you want to take good care of your body so that you can be active even in your 80s. You can have such clear minds and memory even when you're in that age.
Thank you, Dr. Udani. And what does a pinched nerve have to do with weight loss? A lot of people ask, but if you have subluxations, those pinched nerves where your body isn't functioning at 100%, Your nervous system controls your digestion. It controls your thyroid. It controls your hormone function, and it controls your energy to get out moving. So we need to make sure that our brain and body is connected better, removing those areas of subluxation. So when we talk about that wellness revolution, we need the physical structure functioning as well as possible, as well as our nutritional and our emotional and mental health. To be the best you, we need to have all areas functioning well. So that's why, as a chiropractor, we function on the spine and nervous system we focus on that area, but we also work with a naturopath. So when you put it all together, you're going to get the best you. You're going to be at your best. Now, the challenge today is this sitting. Even if you get out for a walk, it's just too much sitting. It's too much Zoom time. It's too much on the screen. So even right now, walk and listen. You do not need to sit and listen. You can do little squats and listen. You can move your arms and listening. My daughter talks about his activity snack every 30 minutes. Walk on the spot, do little squats every 30 minutes. And that's better than going for a half an hour walk a day. A half an hour walk a day is not enough. You can't run an hour a day and that be undoing the damage of sitting for 8 hours a day. So we're not, even driving to our work anymore and getting out of our car from the parking lot. So we do need to get more motion throughout the day. And that's why standing desks are so great and so helpful. And there's so many options for them today, which is amazing. When we want more energy, try to look for different smoothies, just to change the taste up. There's so many different options. Using a grass-fed protein inside, different ways to add greens, different tastes to make it exciting, improve your muscle function, improve your energy as that way to get through the day. So when we want to look at healthy snacks after our workouts, look at nuts, seeds, goji berries, dark chocolate, berries, hummus, dates, ways to increase and have a healthy snack throughout the day. One of my mom's challenges, I grew up that if you could exercise and undo your poor food choices, and that's just not true. You cannot undo poor food choices by going for an hour run or doing an hour workout. We do need to focus on our nutrition, at least 70%. The good gas going into the engine is very, very important. We don't want to sabotage our workouts with a poor choice of a treat afterwards. The treat is working out. That is the endorphin rush. We don't need the treats following a workout. So when we look at different ways to surge, even the 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off is a great way to start, even if it's just 3 minutes, 4 minutes a day. So it's time to kind of do a self-check. Where do we put our money? Where do we put our time? What is in our cupboards? Right? And this applies now more than ever. What is our schedule? What is our plan to make sure we're making healthier choices for our weight loss? So we have 25 steps to go through in order to have our weight loss tips. First, don't go to the store hungry. I'm guilty of this. I buy way too much. Have the list. Use smaller plates, bowls, use smaller cups, use smaller utensils. Aim for this much protein on every single plate that you will eat. Starting that first breakfast or first breaking of your fast with healthy foods and getting our bodies moving right away in the morning. Aiming for healthy proteins with our breakfast. Decreasing white starchy grains. So things that are white rice, white salt, white grains, white rice, white pasta. We want to replace with whole grains or Ezekiel or areas that are much healthier, ancient grains. So even rice, look, if you're going to have rice, have wild rice. Try to make healthier choices, and then careful that that's not half your plate. That's a section of your plate. Careful what we drink. Aim for the waters. Add cucumber, add fruit, instead of looking towards pop and juice and adding those sugars unknowingly throughout your day. Get rid of those tempting junk foods, add the healthier junk foods around the house, healthier nuts and seeds as your treats instead of chips, or chocolate bars or chocolates around the house. And I know that even our house is a little tougher, those chocolates from Christmas still lingering around. So put them more out of sight, not on the kitchen counter. Careful about that seafood syndrome, seafood, see want. All right, put the things that are treats away and out of your sight so they're not so tempting. And if they are tempting for you, but your other family members eat them, tell them to hide them so you don't know where they are. My one is that's challenging is slowing down when I eat. I am so guilty of this. So figuring ways to talk while eating with a loved one, putting your fork down in between bites, enjoying each mouthful. I'm not good at this, but work on it and I'll work on it too. Okay. Looking towards before dinner, making sure you eating healthier snacks so that you're not overeating, especially if you were going out, and adding your meal, looking towards it being 50% green. Having the salad before the big meal, even for regular meals throughout the week. If you are going out or you're getting fast food, cut it in half right away. Don't say, I'll eat until I'm full. Cut it in half right away, put it aside, eat that smaller portion, and then if you still want it, go back later. But if you make that choice right off the start, it's a much easier. Healthy snacks of hummus, cottage cheese, celery, vegetables can make it a healthier way to get throughout the day, and looking to add protein with those healthier snacks. When you are having that treat or that bliss food, trying to do it in moderation or instead of that binging. And I know sometimes when we feel like we're being deprived, that's when we binge, right? So it's okay to have a treat day on Saturday nights or finding a way to have a celebratory, but it's not the whole week, it's not the whole day, it's a meal or it's a part of a meal. And then as we have less sugars, we tend to desire less sugars. And then a treat is an apple, a treat is berries, and they just taste sweeter and they taste better. When we're hungry, it's okay to eat, but we want to eat not until we're overstuffed and full. So those little snacks can be great, and preparing our meals ahead. So I know today, preparing my salad, my big meal with salad and sprouts and boiled eggs, getting excited so it's prepared in advance or thinking about it in advance allows us to make better choices. As we look at that, the physical hunger, or that hangry feeling, for me, sometimes it's when I'm bored, right? That I'm more hungry. So being home more means we want to eat more. So I've got to have the good stuff around. And sometimes it's a matter of just brushing my teeth. As soon as I brush my teeth, I actually don't want it. Or putting a time limit. Do I really want that? I'll just wait 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, if I want it, no problem, I can have it. But wait that 10 minutes because why am I eating? Ask myself. Avoiding those packaged foods, just don't have them in the house. It makes it so much easier. And having the healthier snacks on hand. So having the vegetables pre-cut, pre-prepared makes it easier to grab them. Looking at when we're eating and making sure that we're not just eating because it's noon or eating because it's breakfast, choosing to eat because we are hungry. And that goes towards in that intermittent fasting times, maybe you're shortening the period of time, but we're not just eating because we can in that period of time. We're still making sure that we're hungry and then choosing the healthy fats to help deal with those hunger cues. Creating a challenge with a loved one. I loved when my sister put together a challenge, a walking challenge with my dad just to get him moving more. And so we bought him a Fitbit and just getting him moving, and he challenged with his kids. So creating a nutrition challenge with a friend or a loved one to have that support team. And then of course, having someone like Dr. Udani on your team to help coach you along and then support you and then nudge you, push you to the next level so that you can make more and more changes during 2021. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Phil's book is great to do those audits of your behavior, of your emotions, of your environment. But upcoming, we have amazing talks as well. Every week, stay tuned, learn one more thing, add one more thing a week, and imagine that at the end of the year, you've made 50 plus changes. So stay tuned with us. Dr. Udani and I have great information, and we love to be with you, love to help. And we encourage you to share this with your friends and family. You can reach us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on our website. Please do a review. Help us help others, because people judge us based on those reviews. And we're trying. We want to give this information to you, to your loved ones, to everybody. So share these talks, help them reach their weight loss goals during the 2021 challenge.